We want to discuss the proactive Moses. And there are many examples of that the leadership of Moses was of a proactive person. But let's use the examples of the time he sent the spies out. We find that message in the book of Deutoronomy, chapter 1, from verse 19, which is a very important summary because the longer story is in the book of Exodus, but Deuteronomy summarizes in the words of Moses. And we read, "Then as the Lord our God commanded us, we set out from Horeb and went toward the hill country of the Amorite through all that vast and dreadful wilderness that you have seen. And so we reached Kadesh Barnea. Then I said to you, you have reached the hill country of the Amorites, which the Lord our God is giving us. See, the Lord your God has given you the land. Go up and take possession of it, as the Lord, the God of your ancestors, told you. Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged." Verse 22, "Then all of you came to me and said, let us send men ahead to spy out the land for us and bring back to report about the route we are to take and the towns we will come to. The idea seemed good to me, so I selected 12 of you, one man from each tribe. They left and went up into the hill country and came to the valley of Eshcol and explored it. Taking with them some of the fruit of the land, they brought it down to us and reported, it is good land that the Lord our God is giving us. He has led them for 40 years, and now they are at the edge of entering into Canaan. And between the people and the leader, they agree the best thing is to explore the land first. And Moses agrees it's a very good idea. You see, to be proactive is to be the kind of a person who does not jump into something without proper analysis of the thing. The alternative views of looking to the future. You can look at it from being proactive, but you could look at it as being reactionary, or you could look at it as being unaffected by the past. There are people who simply don't learn from history anything. They act every day like the past never existed. It does not matter what they have gone through, negative, positive. It simply does not influence how they deal with today. Sounds like a good idea, but it isn't. Because God gives us experiences in order to learn from them. But there are people like that. Okay, you say, no, there are no such people, but there are many. I like giving an example of somebody who was in a parents' meeting and asked the question, you parents, did your parents punish you? Oh, the parents were willing to talk, and they talked about how terrible the father was. He would beat them, and you can even show a tooth that went missing because of the beating and some harm. It was not simply discipline, it was terrorism. So some parents referred to their past. So they were willing to all talk. And of course, they are not talking about the current parenting. They are talking about the historical parenting. They are talking about, they are now adults and they are parents. They are talking about how they were brought up. Next question. Now that you are disciplined like that, did it help you? And they all were chorus, never. Are you serious? Yeah, I am who I am because I thought of what I needed to do. Beating never gain much. If I gain much, anything from my parents, it's when they talk to me nicely, explained issues to me. Beating never got anything out of me, especially by the time I was a teenager. Is that so? Next question. Do you beat your children? They looked embarrassed as they answered, yes, they do. And yet you know that it will not benefit them much? They all laughed. What does that tell you? Our culture, our communities are full of people who do not learn from history. And because of not learning from history, they condemn themselves to repeat it. That kind of a way of looking into the future as a leader is unfortunate. It's good Moses was not like that. Where what God has given him 40 years does not give him any wisdom in order to go into the future. It would be a very unfortunate thing. But the second category of people are not the ones who don't learn from history, unaffected by history. The next ones are better. They are reactionary. When you call somebody reactionary, what you mean is he has learned, but learned from history. He reacts to history. That's why we call him a reactionary. And that's a much better person than the first category. This is a person who will look at the things he has gone through. When the business are done badly, he will analyze it and see what could we have done differently. And because of the business going badly, he is able to do something better. This is the kind of a person who says once bitten, twice shy. He is now more careful about things that he has gone through. This is the kind of person who studies what his subordinates have done and understands them so that he knows he cannot give them this type of work. They are better at this type of work. This is a reactionary person who learns from history. And I want to suggest that these are good people, and it's something that we ourselves should ask ourselves whether we actually learn from history. Do we learn from the things God is allowing us to go through? And it does not matter whether they are good things or bad things. We learn from both. Because the scriptures claim, states that we learn even more out of the house of mourning than the house of rejoicing. So that bad experiences that God has taken you through, failures, serious failures that God has allowed you to go through, may be the biggest college, university for what you are going to accomplish in the future. And so it's a very, very important thing to learn from history. But that's not who Moses really is. When you look at him, he is somebody who is proactive. What's the difference? A reactive person learns from history. A proactive person avoids going wrong by analyzing the future, thinking about the future. He asks 3 questions. Number 1, what do I want to achieve in the future? He has a vision, a clarity of a vision, mission. He is clear where he is going because he has thought through. That's a proactive person. If you ask him, what do you want to achieve? He is clear. We see Paul in the book of Romans, and also in the book of Acts. He is a person who is always looking ahead. He is clear what God's calling is. When Ananias came to pray for him, but he's always looking ahead. It's very interesting to see that he did not even want to preach only in Rome. He wanted to go to Spain. And the idea was, I'm going to pass through Rome on my way to Spain. It's really doubted by those who study whether he ever reached Spain because, of course, he ended up going to Rome as a prisoner. But can you see? He had clarity of the then known world and how when you finish one place, where you will go next. I think that's what I'm seeing. So that's the first thing. Clarity of vision will make you a proactive person. But the second thing about a proactive person is that he asks the question, what can prevent me from reaching that particular future? What can stop me from reaching that particular future? He looks at the barriers, possible barriers. These days, in what they call the SWOT analysis, it's where you look at the potential. What are things that come in the future which I could utilize in order to go to my vision? Those are potential. And then the other are called threats in the SWOT analysis. What can threaten my achieving whatever it is that I want to achieve, the kind of vision God has given me, the kind of hope He has given me, what could actually deal with it? So he was by asking the question, what could go wrong? And for everything that could go wrong, he asked himself, is there anything I can do to prevent it from going wrong or to reduce the impact of it going wrong? Now, if you do that, it means several things. The number one, it means that if it actually happens, you will not be in shock. Because the trouble with somebody who is not proactive is that whenever something happens, he's so shocked, he's paralyzed. He cannot think what to do at that time. It will mean a recovery period. But a proactive person saw it coming. He did not pray it comes. He prayed against it coming. But if it does, he expected it. So he has thought through. Because the first thing he expected is not sure. Number two, he already thought of emergency response plan. How can I deal with this man? If it happened, how can you deal with it? And because he thinks about it, it helps. That's why my friend Moses, when he was told what his vision is to get the people of Israel out, he knew immediately what can stop him: his ability to talk. And because he declared his problem, God sorted out by bringing Aaron in his life to help him to deal with it. And I think Aaron played the role of dealing with the handicap, the challenge to Moses achieving the whatever his mission in life was. And so it's important to understand, if you are really going to be a proactive person, you have clarity like Moses of what you really want to achieve is to get them out and get them to. So far in this story, he has conquered parts of them. 2 tribes have actually found a place to stay, but he still has another 9 tribes that he needs to find where they are going to go to. And mostly he did actually achieve it. It was Joshua who actually achieved it. But he is clear what he was doing, but he was also clear what the challenges are that can prevent him from achieving. And that's important. So the first thing is, what am I trying to achieve? The second one is, what could prevent me from achieving it? Number 3, which is important, is what are my resources? What are my tools? What do I have? Moses asked a similar question. He was told, what do you have in your hands? And of course, he had a stake. And that stake turned into a snake. That stake is a stake he rifted, and the Red Sea opened. Now, you need to understand, so you don't just ask what can go wrong. You ask, what do you have? What is it? What strength do you have? What opportunity do you have which you can utilize in order to achieve whatever it is you are looking towards achieving? And then the next question is, what strategies would be best for achieving? And you think through those strategies. That way, you're able to see this strategy is good, but it's not as good as this. If you're the kind of person who doesn't think, you will just come up with one idea and run into it without evaluating, analyzing. Of course, you have to be very careful that you don't suffer from too much analysis. You have heard of the saying, paralysis of analysis, that you can analyze until you don't move. The only way you accomplish your goals is by doing, not just by analyzing. So analyzing should not be given more time than necessary, but it must be given. You can see the difference between the reactive person and the guy who is not affected by history and this guy. This one has looked into the future and can tell you the details. If he is organizing a meeting into the next week, he has thought through of all the things that can happen. What about if the speaker doesn't turn up? What about if the electricity fails? And it doesn't have to fail. But if it does fail, then obviously what will happen is that he has thought through of a generator. If the speaker doesn't come, he has thought of somebody else and he has mentioned to him, I hope the speaker comes. If he doesn't, I'll talk to you. Now, that's really what I see in the life of our friend Moses. He's able to do it. Verse 19 is saying, then as the Lord our God commanded us, we set out from Horeb and went toward the hill country of the Amorites, through all that vast and dreadful wilderness that you have seen. And so we reach Kadesh Barnea. Remember, that point he is remembering in history is 40 years ago, when they were just about to enter into Canaan, and they reached a place called Kadesh Barnea. Because now he is looking at it back in history. Then I said to you, you have reached the hill country of the Amorites, which the Lord our God is giving us. See, the Lord your God has given you the land. Go up and take possession of it, as the Lord, the God of your ancestors, told us. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. So he tells them clearly, I know this way I was bringing you. We are at the edge of it. However, we have to take possession. What is to take possession? Is to fight and throw away the people that are in that land. And I think that's where the trouble really comes. Because one would have expected to take possession. God would just kill or do whatever with the people in Palestine, so they just walk on fresh ground. No. God expects them to participate in the fight until they win. And that's a way to go into it. And so he tells them, do not be afraid, do not be discouraged, which is the work of a leader. If you really are going to be a leader, you must sort yourself out with terms of your fear. Because everybody will have fear, even including the leader. So how do you deal with your thing? I think Moses' style was to talk to God. The moment God had sorted him out, he now was able to encourage others. And that's why you cannot expect your followers to be the one to encourage you. If they do, well and good, but that's not the expectation. Cannot expect your children to be the one to encourage you. If they do, well and good, but you should find your encouragement in God. Once God has encouraged you, given you hope, given you confidence, then you use that one in order to encourage others. Moses is already encouraged in Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 21. And he says, see, the Lord has given you the land. He is so confident about God's ability to do it that it doesn't bother him. He just encourages them. Then verse 22 he says, then all of you came to me and said, let us send men ahead to spy out the land for us and bring back a report about the route we are to take and the towns we'll come to. So these people are well taught. They are taught that we don't just go into something. The important thing is think through. So they make a suggestion. Let us send an exploratory team. Let's send men ahead to spy out the land for us. Because in the process, you map out the strategies of fighting, the fighting strategies. You know who are the strong ones, who are the weak ones, which is a better route to follow. You just go in. And then when they bring up back the report, then they will understand which towns to take and which one to start with and which one to do later. I think that's an important request by these people. But the point I want to draw out of here is that you can be the best proactive leader, but until you and the followers have a buy-in and similarity of direction, it will not work. There are people that are gifted and clear, proactive, but unfortunately the people don't agree with them, don't see the same way they are seeing. So what happens? People just keep dropping off the team. And the team will not achieve what it was supposed to achieve. Not because you are not a proactive leader, but because you don't know how to communicate your vision to others. And that can be a very unfortunate thing, because that's why leaders are not just good at getting visions. They must be good at passing the vision to others. How do you get people to buy into your vision? 3 things I would suggest. Number 1 is be clear yourself. You cannot explain to others what you yourself have a problem understanding. One of the ways of knowing someone doesn't understand something is when they cannot explain it simply to others. And that will be an important thing. But the second thing is, you should be accessible. There's no way you communicate in the language of the people if you stay in the staff room as headmaster. You stay in your office and you never visit the staff room. So the teachers are not free with you. So they cannot tell you when things are going wrong in the school. This was different for Moses. He is so accessible that they're able to tell him, yeah, we are also excited to go in, but can we do the following? He is accessible, able for people able to talk to him. And if you are a leader and you are not accessible, it will be difficult, however proactive you are, to go to the vision you have actually seen and actually go with the people that are traveling with you. I think it will be important to understand that you must be accessible. People must find you easy to communicate with. But sometimes leaders don't want that. They feel like if you are too free with your followers, they will not respect you. No, they can respect you. It depends on your performance, depends on your language, depends on how you carry yourself. So be clear yourself, but be somebody accessible. Number 3, you are not just accessible. You must be a kind of a person who does not see yourself as the only person knowing. You know, when you think that you are leading people who don't know where they are going, do not know the left hand from the right hand, there's a way of talking that will make you, even people, anybody can tell you don't have no respect for your followers. And it will be a problem because it means that if they have an idea that can help the project, they'll not give you because they know you'll trash it. That was different for Moses. He actually spent time listening to people. They knew he doesn't trash all their ideas. Do you actually want to be a kind of a person that's going to lead Moses' style in such a way that you are able to accomplish despite big challenges like Moses had? I think you need to learn how to respect ideas of people. It doesn't mean that everything you hear from people you do, but at least give them the freedom to suggest things. And when you can't do certain things they suggest, you can explain to them why that's not a good idea. But they know that you considered it. They know you listened. They know you are happy to listen to them and to consider it. And you might actually take it. And several times you will take it. So that's why these people now in Deuteronomy chapter 1 verse 22 are willing. They are willing. They all came to me. You all came to me and said they were willing to talk to him. So the first thing is be clear yourself. Number 2, be accessible. Number 3, be somebody who knows you are not proud. You know that there are things you don't know. That you are not the only one with the knowledge. That God can talk to you and talk to others. That there is experience your subordinates have gone through that may have given them an edge over you. So that if it's going to be a teamwork, it will be important that you allow them. So that will be a very, very important thing to do, and we learn it from Moses. Then verse 23 says, the idea seemed good to me, so I selected 12 of you, 1 man from each tribe. Yeah, that's what I've just emphasized. Do not take every idea. God has given you a chance to lead. I think it will be important to realize when failure comes, all of you will be blamed, but especially the leader. So you must assess suggestions that you receive. They may be given in good faith, but finally you must assess them. Given where you are going, whatever God has shown you, and given you the challenges you are likely to be there in the future and the potential, is this a good idea? Now, when it's a good idea, you accept it. But here next comes the very important thing. So I selected 12 of you, 1 man from each tribe. So the first thing is, if you are proactive and not action-oriented, you can have a problem. So not only must you be proactive, you must know nothing happens by analysis. Everything only happens when you take action. And it will be important that you actually do take action. He actually, now that I've agreed with you, what's the next? I need to select the people that are going to do the exploration. I will select 12 people. You take action. Many people spend too much time after the decision is made, they still don't implement. You cannot move forward without action. Nothing ever happened by analysis. You must take action. And then I like the way he does it. In order for the report to be bought easily, what he does is he selects spies from each one of the tribes. Do you see the wisdom? Because if it comes only from certain tribes, the others can say, this is not our thing. We were not involved. Moses wanted teamwork, and so he involves the whole nation. So by picking people from them. So one person from each tribe. Do you learn to do that? For people, to get people involved. Of course, you still must pick the best. But the best is not a reserve of a small group or of your friends. Even people who are not friendly to you may be good. It will be important that you select in such a way that they feel the whole team feels represented. Then verse 24 says, they left, these are the spies, and went up into the hill country and came to the valley of Eshcol and explored it. They actually did go. They did explore. But then verse 25 says, taking with them some of the fruit of the land, they brought it down to us and reported, it's a good land that the Lord is giving us. You see now, it's a very, very important thing. The survey has been done. The report has been brought back. But these are good people. Since the task was to find out the routes, where to pass, what kind of land is it, they actually carried specimen, fruits with them, brought back to the Israel camp. And I think that's one of the things you need to train your people. Evidence. It's not enough to just say something and the leader follows. Ask, how do you know? Says, so-and-so is planning to kill you. Like we saw in the book of Nehemiah. The question is, what is your evidence? If you don't look like a person who asks for evidence, you will get all kinds of reports, some useful, some not useful. So ask for evidence. So the people going knew Moses was not the type who just listens to stories. Or whatever they call old women's tales. He wants to know what you are saying, what is your evidence. So they carried the evidence. And the report summary was simple. It's a good land that the Lord is giving us. What is the evidence? Look at the fruit. So, as we come to the conclusion, isn't it good to see that how proactive Moses was, that before going into the fight or before allowing the Israel to go into Canaan and deal with it, he actually allowed them to explore. And although in this particular instance, they actually later rioted and refused to go in, what he had done is something that's important and good. What may be missing may be what we need to conclude with, even if the research shows challenges. Do you go to God and allow God to be the one to make a decision? A proactive person, by analysis, could get so frightened he doesn't go ahead, forgetting that it's not his strength includes God's provisions, God's strength, which are way above him, so that even when you discover there are challenges ahead, you must always remind yourself, this is not my battle, the battle belongs to God. And so you'll go into things which, humanly speaking, you will not have gone through. But now that you know this is not your project, God's project, you still can have faith and go into it. And I think that may be one of the things that missed in this first round at Kadesh Barnea. You as a leader, Are you proactive, reactive, or unaffected by history? Please copy Moses.